It's the 12th of August and I'm Tom Glass and welcome to The Roast. Now on tonight's show, we take a closer look at some controversy surrounding internships. Personally, I support internships because it is far easier to exploit young and inexperienced people under the guise of training them.
Hi.
Hi, can I help you?
Yeah, could you get me a skim latte and a chocolate croissant, please?
Sure thing, boss.
Stupid interns. Welcome to The Roast!
Sorry, do you have any money?
Step on it, Glasson! Tonight, members of the Liberal Party under fire for making homophobic and sexist comments publicly, and internships are seen by some as unfair.
Here's your coffee and croissant.
Good. Now host the show. I'm going for a 10-minute kip.
Okay, will do, boss. First, let's cross to Mark Humphries with the headlines.
Keep it down out there. I'm trying to kip.
Finance Minister Mathias, Cormann, seen here showing the size of the budget cuts and the size of the budget spending, is facing calls from Conservative commentators, including former Treasurer Peter Costello, to make urgent changes to the budget. With criticism from both sides of politics, this is now the most hated budget since the one that funded the Wolverine. But Mathias says he isn't going to roll over and make changes just yet.
This is a marathon, not a sprint, and we are totally and fully committed to the marathon.
And I believe we have footage of how the coalition's marathon is going. JB Hi-Fi, the shop that survives on the rotting corpses of HMV, Sanity and Virgin, has announced a full-year profit of $128 million, or one pair of Beats by Dre. Hopefully the increased profits mean they'll finally splash out on some real signage. JB Hi-Fi there, single-handedly propping up the texter industry. And if you'd like to be part of this thriving business, be sure to send in your CV and photos of all your tattoos and piercings. To China now, where police are punishing drivers caught misusing their high beams by forcing them to stare at headlights for 5 minutes. Staring into light hasn't been experienced in some parts of China since the sun disappeared around the time of the Smog dynasty. This punishment is the most humiliating experience for a Chinese person outside of appearing on If You Are the One.
我觉得他长得特别像机器猫。
After staring into bright lights for 5 minutes, everything looks like a cartoon cat. And headlights aren't the only punishment for Chinese hoons.
Violators also have to listen to a police explanation on properly using headlights and pay a fine of 300 yuan.
300 yuan, or one... I don't know the exchange rate. It's believed the move is intended to make the punishment fit the crime, but could potentially damage the country's flawless human rights record. Speaking of China, to Tasmania now, where they've come up with a novel way to attract Chinese tourists.
Tasmanian hoteliers are being urged to add underwear, cups of noodles and disposable slippers to their minibars.
Underwear in the minibar? What would that taste like? It's all part of a 16-page pamphlet funded by the Tasmanian government and no doubt written by the guy in marketing who has a thing for fridge temperature underwear, Gavin. For The Roast, I'm Mark Humphries.
Thank you, Mark. You know, they really should lower the prices on those minibars because this internship doesn't pay that well, meaning this morning I had to make the choice between fresh undies and fresh Toblerone. Obviously I went with the fresh Toblerone, but I think it's starting to melt. Now, next up, a member of the Liberal Party said something offensive. Sound effect, bum, bum, bum. Oh, I wasn't supposed to read that aloud. Still getting the hang of the whole hosting thing. All right, what did they say?
Women are well represented in amongst the teaching and nursing students. They will not be able to earn the high incomes that, say, dentists or lawyers will earn.
No women dentists? My wife is a dentist. Oh my God, my wife is a man.
Women easily outnumber men in both dentistry and law.
Hi, honey. Yeah, the divorce papers I just faxed through, throw them in the bin. We don't need them anymore. Yeah, I just learned that there are female dentists. What do you mean you're going ahead with the divorce? What do you mean you've hired a female lawyer? Well, since there are female dentists and lawyers, maybe my ex-wife should spend a little less time trying to take the house and a little more time educating the Education Minister about his own portfolio. But Christopher Pyne wasn't the offending Liberal I was talking about.
Eric Abetz draws link between abortion and breast cancer.
Eric Abetz there justifying God's decision to make all men eventually die. Tell you what though, I for one am glad that these dinosaurs with their out-of-date social stances will soon be replaced by a new wave of politicians from their youth party, the Young Liberals. Get some generation-wide tolerance in there.
In one Facebook post, a young Liberal writes, "Lesbians are misandrists and the homosexual like yourself could be considered misogynistic if you're into stereotyping."
Yeah, I'd have to say I'm not really into stereotyping myself. It's more of a rich white man thing, whereas I'm clearly a wearing Tobler panties kind of guy. But it seems like the young Liberals are. No, I get it, sound guy. Thank you. Yes, social media is proving the bane of the young Liberals' existence, as according to reports in The Age, Facebook posts apparently belonging to the account of a high-profile young Liberal used derogatory language to describe Germaine Greer. Now, a warning to our viewers, I have been told the language is a little like the hit song by Eiffel 65, Blue.
One young Liberal describes Miss Greer as a lying guzzling slut.
I got this, little buddy. The words you're looking for are holy shit, you despicable piece of shit.
So obviously, they're not a big fan of Greer. You can find the Melbourne University Liberal Club's ideal woman on their club badge. Silent, white, and dressed like it's the 1950s. But while gender disparity still has some work to do, at least the next generation of leaders has grown up in a time of multiculturalism, of acceptance of all people, regardless of race, of religion, of...
He also appears to hit out at Muslims, telling a friend, "Just be careful of those musrats. A lot of them are a bunch of third world degenerate."
Such a piece of shit.
So, no headway made there for the future of the Liberal Party. Okay, what's left? Gender's out, race is out. Oh, sexuality. That should be okay. I mean, Turnbull supports gay marriage, and the young Liberals at Swinburne Uni weighed in on this one.
In one Facebook post, a young Liberal questions whether butchy lesbians are considered women.
Oh, come on! Someone shut these shits up!
Look, I'm getting scared to ask, but did the Melbourne Uni Liberals have an opinion on homosexuality too?
The young Liberal also refers to London as the gay capital of the world.
Okay, maybe not as offensive as the others, but still wrong, sir. I can think of one or two folks down at gaycities.com who would disagree with you there, to say nothing of the entire population of Chicago, aka Gay Chicago. London didn't even make the top 6. Gay capital? Ha! It's a gay provincial town at best. So that is a fail on gender, race and sexuality. Alex Lee, educate these young Liberals.
I'm trying, Tom. I've been running a training session for the young Libs who are upstairs at this Mexican restaurant. Now, I'm here because, as Fairfax reported, the club's vice president said it's definitely worth a visit because it had a Mexican restaurant and an upstairs bar with lots of sluts. Although this Urban Spoon review I've read is a little different. I tried to come here and have a night out with the girls, but we were pestered constantly by a group of smug, self-entitled dickheads in polo shirts.
Okay, now I assume you're teaching the Libs how to use social media.
Oh, no. They shouldn't use it at all. Okay, let's be straight. The party is absolutely disgusted by this.
And rightly so.
Everyone knows that if you hold offensive opinions, don't post them on Facebook.
Absolutely.
Bide your time, become a minister, then write policy that is built on those beliefs.
Yes. Like what?
Look, all I'm saying is this. I think I can train these guys to keep their hateful thoughts to themselves until they're in a position to water them down into some sort of legislation.
Well, can you teach them to just not think those things in the first place?
Not these.
All right, thank you, Alex. We'll be right back.
Have you ever used social media to engage in hate speech? Was it social media's fault? Or do you have hate in your heart that you just can't help but get out? We'd love to never hear about it. At the Roast TV or hashtag Roast TV.
Finally tonight, unpaid internships. They can be a great way to get a foot in the door of a competitive industry, tantamount to slavery, or an hour-and-a-half ad for Google. And with news that some young people are now paying for their unpaid internships, there has never been a worse time to work a full-time job for no money. So if you watched ABC2's program How to Make Money Selling Drugs last night, good on you for having a solid fallback option. For more on internships, we will now turn to Jazz Twemlow. Jazz, what have you got for us?
Well, to put the current situation in context, we have to go back to the very beginning of internships, which I'm going to say was a whole bunch of years ago.
Hey,
here in the olden days, to get a job, you just had to watch your dad and learn his trade before he died at the ripe old age of 11. It was rent-free and you got fed. Want me to get you a coffee, Dad?
Don't be daft, son. If you go now, you'll miss the most important part, and this sword will end up being a right shit show.
Right, of course. Eventually, internships changed a bit so that instead of learning from a giant dad, you could learn any profession as long as you worked for free. And it would only cost you transport, the lost income you would have received from a minimum wage job, and of course the hundreds of dollars I haven't been reimbursed for gaining valuable experience.
Hey, intern, get me a cappuccino, yeah?
Yeah, sure. Or I can get it. Shit. Oh well, maybe internships are like the Karate Kid, and if I spend lots of time doing menial tasks, I'll accidentally learn how to be an accountant. But now with news that some job seekers are paying agencies up to $2,000 to place them in internships, it's no longer enough to work for free. Now you have to pay a middleman for the right to work for nothing. All right, so $2,000. Need that internship. Insufficient funds. Yeah, I know, because I don't have a job. I'm trying to withdraw money so that I can afford to... Oh, God, I'm so confused. I need to be able to withdraw the money. I need to find work. Can I pay the ATM to give me money? No, that doesn't make sense. Can I... Oh, forget it! And that's the growing internship problem in Australia, Tom. A system that means you now need money to get a job, and therefore a system as useless as a hospital that only admits healthy people.
All right, thank you, Jazz. I'm going to need that $2,000 now.
What? I've been interning here for 2 years.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of people who would do it for free, so...
Free? You mean for minus $2,000?
I sure do. Pay up.
Did you get that $2,000 like I asked?
I'm just about to.
Okay, good. Now shove over.
Yep, okay.
Please don't.
Good night! By the way, my chocolate croissant was too chocolatey this morning. British intern, get me another one.
Oh...